Hello everyone, let's start the video. While getting out and about through the forest, Golem, an old meandering backwoods defender, runs over a youthful human young lady named Somali bound in chains. He brings her into his consideration and acknowledges the title of her dad. The two travel from one city to another, finding out about their human progress set of experiences. They discover that a conflict among beasts and mankind almost cleared out humanity, and that while a portion of the survivors disappeared to live in detachment, numerous others wound up as slaves or food. Somali gets sidetracked from Golem while shopping in a town and pursues a feline, ultimately being cornered in a backstreet. The feline, who later uncovers himself to be a beast, nearly perceives Somali as a human in view of her fragrance, however, is repulsed by Golem. Golem reprimands Somali for straying as the two withdraw for their next objective. However, Golem understands that little kids carry on of unadulterated interest. He stretches out his hand to her, guaranteeing that she remains nearby him. Somali excursions and falls while pursuing a few horned bunnies while having breakfast next to a streaming rivulet, harming her niece simultaneously. Shizuno, a bantam oni, shows up out of the blue and offers to assist with wrapping Somali's physical issue prior to shipping the two to his home. They meet Yabashira, an Oni who fills in as Shizuno's partner. Subsequent to taking care of Somali, Golem demands that Shizuno show him the methods of clinical herbology, which Shizuno consents to do in return for a little piece of Golem's protective layer to read up for clinical exploration purposes. While Shizuno shows Golem different clinical mixes, Somali has Yabashira dole out her errands in return for Golem forfeiting a piece of himself for her. At the point when Shizuno begins to lament, requesting a Golem shard, he guarantees the bantam oni that his desolation is like Somali's, the point at which she harms herself, which he at no point ever needs to find in the future. That evening, while Somali is resting, Golem lets the Onis know that he is making a trip with Somali to find her folks, however, that he just has a year prior to he closes down forever. The following morning, the two say their farewells to their Oni has and return to the backwoods. Somali and Golem show up in Anthole City, a desert gully town. They don't bring in sufficient cash selling their excess products, so Golem takes some work tending to tables to enhance their pay. The cafe show to a group of deer-like shurigaras is almost vacant, so Golem covers for the harmed mother while Somali gets to know their young little girl Kikila. During his shift, Golem knows about people living on the opposite side of the desert, yet can't bear the cost of the fundamental stuff. In view of his bustling timetable, Golem invests less energy with Somali, making her desolate. Golem hesitantly lets Somali address a task with Kikila across town. During their discussion, Somali communicates her trepidation that Golem will leave her once their process is finished. To mollify her feelings of dread, Kikila takes Somali to a sacrosanct cavern underneath town. They investigate the baffling cave and find the field of gleaming blossoms. However, they likewise stir a mushroom-like beast. A messy wolf-like animal pursues the beast away as it gets ready to go after Somali. Muthrika, the wolfman, uncovers himself as the underground chamber's gatekeeper and Kikila's educator. They see Somali's blossom lose its gleam and kick the bucket because of an absence of supplements from the mysterious Tsukiyami trees. In the wake of convincing Muthrika, the threesome investigates the cave to find Somali's desire conceding blossom. They arrive at the cave center and find a Goliath Tsukiyami tree encompassed by blossoms. An immense reptile beast intrudes on Somali's decision and favors her desire and soul. Golem reprimands Somali for digressing from the tasks, inciting her to escape to her room. Subsequent to making sense of their difficulty, Muthrika urges Golem to hear Somali's side of the story, yet Somali becomes sick and won't eat. Golem surges out to purchase medication, acknowledging he might be somewhat to fault for Somali's injury. While Solami rests, Kikila's dad lets Golem know that nurturing is a growing experience. However, Golem needs to continue to work since he spent his profit on Somali's medication the prior night. Golem is drawn closer by Muthrika as he opens the burger joint, who illuminates him that his guarantee to remain with Somali won't be kept. Following a couple of days in the desert, Somali and Golem show up in Winecup Town. There they meet Yuzoi, a wench, and Hitora, a sickly falcohol. The padded couple deal to go with Golem and Somali, who readily acknowledge. Unbeknownst to them, Yuzoi finds Somali is human and Hitora is likewise a hidden human transforming into a wench. Yuzoi plans to utilize Somali to help Hitora. The gathering sets out on their excursion through the desert, experiencing dust storms and desert monsters en route. To prevent Yuzoi from catching Somali and guaranteeing her blood will save, Hitora uncovers to Golem that he is human. Hitora lets Golem know that an unusual seer told him and Yuzoi that finding new clean blood would fix his spoiled blood, so Yuzoi plans to take Somali's. Somali escapes Yuzoi's grip yet falls into an underground lake, compelling Yuzoi to save her, apologize, and make sense of her activities. Somali excuses Yuzoi for saving her from suffocating and Golem shows up. Hitora lets Golem know that he had a family in a little homestead town that was gone after by beasts during the conflict. Out of food, he killed Yuzoi's mom and carried her to his family's safe house to eat. This brutally transformed his family into wenches and killed them, however saved him and left him distorted. A youthful Yuzoi later moved toward him and became connected. Yuzio is demonstrated to be conscious and has heard Hitora's story. The following day, Yuzoi and Somali are cleared away by a monstrous sand twister. They are before long found, however, are sought after by a beast. Hitora leads it away, expecting to pass on for the well-being of Yuzoi, however is saved by her. She then pardons him and advises him to live for her. Golem feels remorseful about breaking his guarantee to remain with Somali subsequent to seeing Hitora vow to remain with Yuzoi. He educates Hitora regarding his looming passing and a town west of the desert where he can track down data. After arriving at the finish of the desert, Hitora and Yuzoi withdraw while Golem and Somali head for the reputed town. They show up in an enchanted town show to well-disposed witches after a long excursion. With the assistance of sister witches Hazel and Praline, they find a book about people called The Narratives of Horizon, yet Somali is out of nowhere gone after by book-eating beasts called pescafish. In the wake of overcoming them, an enormous pescafish assaults the narratives. She attempts to escape with it, however the beast obliterates it, directing its concentration towards Somali. The Golem stops the monster yet loses quite a bit of his shield. Somali cries over Golem's physical issue and the deficiency of the book, yet he guarantees her that her security starts things out. The witches verify whether anybody had perused the narratives previously, and just as old Nepsol, the library's head custodian, had. Praline chooses to provide Golem with a guide of the library to assist them with finding their direction in the wake of considering the head bookkeeper's chronic infirmity. They are anyway gotten by security beasts and marked as gatecrashers. Somali is grabbed by Golem and the two advance toward the core of the library where the maturing head curator lives. Isolde uncovers that her precursor's encounters with people as a little kid propelled her to compose the narratives of Horizon. She makes sense of that as a youngster. Fyodora Nepsol arrived in a town of people controlled by a golem named Horizon because of a tempest. Fyodora immediately became familiar with the town's way of life, however her sentiments were immediately broken when the locals joined together to kill a serene adjoining beast. She is compelled to uncover her barbaric nature to save a resident, and thus she is marked unusual, a human term for a beast, and is compelled to escape. Isolde concludes the story by depicting people who live toward the apocalypse. She likewise concedes that she realizes Somali is a person, yet that she is glad to have met somebody who thinks often about their reality before she dies. Golem and Somali look for cover from the downpour in a huge treehouse en route to their next objective. The house is unfilled for the season, yet it actually has cooking supplies, so Somali requests that Golem set up a dinner for her. Golem makes a souffle subsequent to filtering through recipes, which Somali views as delightful. Shizuno and Yabashira show up at their entryway requesting cover before she can complete it or caution Golem about a free tooth. The two Onis join the gathering the following day and travel to Savage Past City looking for a popular dental specialist. They track down the dental specialist, a mouse-like man named Sowak, who clears up the intricate details of dentistry for Shizuno. However, Somali is unnerved by her new dental issue. She runs into a group of hooligans, bringing about a backstreet fight among them and Golem, who is joined by two Onis. Salami's tooth comes free during the fight, however, when they return to the dental specialist, he tells her that it was a child tooth that sounds supplanted. Needing a spot to remain, the gathering is moved toward his by an owner room in return for the gathering's assist in getting with freeing of the past posse, as well similar to the town's protectors. Shizuno affirms Somali's humankind with Golem while she rests in her new bed and discovers that the machine exchanged his Timberland guardianship to safeguard her, all things being equal. Golem educates Shizuno concerning the time he met Somali in his Timberland. He went over a brought-down truck loaded with dead people who had been gone after while on the lookout. He was driven away from the destruction by a woods creature to a young lady bound in chains underneath a tree where she suddenly tended to him as father. Despite his desire to the contrary, the young lady began following him at the entire hours of the constantly regardless. Golem became connected to her over the long run and, surprisingly, saved her from suffocating when she bounced into a lake to recover his as of late lost defensively covered shell. Golem chooses to pass on the timberland with the young lady to find people, and she is given the name Somali after the creature that previously driven him to her. And the current Golem finishes his story and uncovers to Shizuno his disabled actual body as his demise draws near. The gathering is entrusted with bodyguarding the town the following day, so Golem and Yabashira go to work while Shizuno cares for Somali. Somali considers a present to give Golem over the course of the following couple of days, while he works in the long run choosing to sow something. Rosa, a landlord, shows up one day with food and supplies for the gathering as well as help with Somali's present. She shows Somali how to sew a wristband for Golem, and when she gets the hang of it, she gives her a major embrace. Rosa then again runs into the triplet pack from previously and illuminates them that she has found Somali is human. Golem and Yabashira look for provisions for their outing as they complete up their day-to-day jobs once and for all while Somali completes her wristband. Somali gives Golem her gift that evening, and he joyfully shocks her by giving her a comparative wristband he tracked down in the neighborhood. They're all playing in the snow when Golem sees a hunting party somewhere far off searching for people. Yabashira perceives Somali's mankind and consents to redirect the party's consideration while Golem, Shizuno, and the young lady escape to a close-by mine. At the point when they are moved toward by one more hunting party, their way is impeded by a messed-up span constraining Golem to convey the other two and bounce down into the sinkhole underneath. They are on out when Rosa shows up and, under the misrepresentation of helping them, secures them in an enclosure. Rosa enlightens them concerning how a close-by human settlement mistreated her young life town, compelling her to look for retaliation on all people. The trackers approach for the kill, yet Golem implodes in a load and loses an arm as he attempts to battle. He has spent all of his life energy. Golem changes into a gigantic massive monster as Somali is taken, stunning everybody. The hunting party is designated by Golem, who assaults them, making them escape in dread. Somali blocks Golem's disaster area as he seeks after them, making him wake up and close down. He awakens in a woodland knoll a couple of days after the fact, saying sorry to everybody for his activities and making sense of that his wounds won't mend as fast as the others. He and Shizuno take a walk that evening, and he lets the Oni know that his actual capacities have been injured and his designated time might be stopped. However, the Oni actually accepts something. Should be possible to help. The gathering shows up the following day in a town that is facilitating a yearly celebration. Golem slips from the others while they watch a festival show, feeling that his opportunity has arrived to leave. Somali understands this and surges off to find him, which she does in a close-by timberland. As she moves toward, Golem berates her that she is better without him, referring to his new eruption of fury as verification. Somali entreats him to remain, and the machine at last acknowledges he has sentiments. The dad and girl recharge their guarantee to remain together perpetually with a re-established commitment and bond. Thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe to Any Pluto.